Hi guys and gals, it's Pete, Mindwiseman's channel, aka Maverick Outdoors, and you can hear that rain slooshing down on top of my Slummit Gobi 3 tent. Bugging out in the woods at Ardeley farm for the big meet-up here on the 24th of July 2015. And today's Friday. It's about 7:30 in the evening. As you can see, I set up the tent. It's a quick pitch tent, but I will do a full review on this tent, which I'm very impressed with at a later date. So it's classified as a 3-person tent. Obviously plenty of space for me. I've opened the porch door and just had this down at an angle so at least it drains some of the water. But it just gives me access to get in underneath and sit back down on my sit mat. A few more people have been arriving over at the corner of the woods where myself and Funky Prepper have actually pitched up. He's just about 10 o'clock from the front of my, as in direction from the front of my tent. And just the gazebo over there is Steph. He's got his tent just to the left, and instead of actually having a tarp, so he's got a good setup there because he's there for a little bit of permanent time. There's loads of other people. There's about 100 to 150 people that are attending this weekend. It was being titled the 300 Prepper Meet or the 300 Meetup at Ardeley Farm, but there's a lot of other events going on this weekend, so it's reduced the numbers a little bit. But the wet weather is forecast all day today. It's going to clear up hopefully tomorrow, Saturday, and then it seems on Sunday the rain's going to kick in again. I wanted to try out, give this a field test, this Slummit Gobi 3, so I will be doing a review on it at a later date, but it's plenty of space. It's just nice to have a little bit of 5-star accommodation. As you saw a little bit earlier, I've got the Coleman 2-burner stove, which I thought I would bring just for convenience, so it's just easy to cook things, especially as the weather's a bit naff. So rather than set up a tarp over the top of a fire pit, which we could have done here, we've done before many times at different locations, it's just nice to get settled in, get your pitch set up, tarp, basher, tent, whatever it is, and then just have quick access to actually make something to eat. And this is what I just made a little bit earlier. I did bring a waterproof jacket, but it wasn't really standing up very well. It wasn't really that good for some reason. I've used it before, so Darren's lent me his poncho. So I'm going to don that and have a little walk about and see what's going on. It's now Saturday morning and it's a little bit brighter and a little bit more clement after the continual rain since arrival yesterday, and then the wind really built up later on last night and it didn't really die down till about 4 or 5 o'clock this morning. So it's prospect to be quite mild today, still maybe a bit breezy, but at least we've got some nice sunlight cascading through the trees of the woods. Once I'd settled for the night, I was quite comfortable of just wearing my t-shirt, the body warmer, and then just my normal trousers inside the sleeping bag. But then a little bit later on, I just put the fleece on, so basically it was just my t-shirt, body warmer, fleece, trousers. Actually, for a change, zipped up inside my sleeping bag instead of it actually being unzipped, and then just my feet in what I call the sort of hood end and draped over me like that with a Kasha safari dog underneath. So normally it's opened up and draped over me. But I haven't got the dog with me this weekend, as this was going to be a little bit more busy mixing with people, and I didn't think it was fair to sort of keep her traipsing around over uneven terrain, and the sort of some of the ground was going to be quite boggy, so I didn't think it was fair to bring. So she's having a bit of a good time with some of her doggy friends that she's known, well, one of them in particular, that's a purebred pedigree staff. They've known each other since they were puppies, so she'll be glad to see him, and he's got 2 other dogs that live with him as well, so there'll be the 4 of them traipsing around in a massive great garden. So it's nice for her to have some good dog companionship now and again. Just a quick kit appraisal. All my sleep kit and sundries were in my 100-litre rucksack with other bits and pieces in the side like torches, first aid kit, etc. And my clothes dry bag, which I used, sort of spread out some of the clothes that I didn't use, clean clothes for over the weekend, to make a support under the inflatable pillow. So that was an absolutely perfect angle to sleep, either laying on my back or on my side, as I tend to do. The body warmer was rolled up and squeezed into my homemade version. As you can see, it's just a postal bag, but it's nice and strong and it actually compacts down the size, so that contained my body warmer, which of course was in the rucksack. My Berghaus Monroe rucksack had all my food contained in it. Toaster in that bag, container which had the kettle and little mini saucepan, and the first time ever I've actually brought the smaller sized stainless steel mess tin, so I've got 2 of them there because I'm going to be doing multi-function cooking, maybe having a saucepan and 2 mess tins on the go, cooking on the 2-burner stove. My sleep surface was the cellular foam mat, which I'd mentioned on the previous video when I did the wild camp returning back to the rivers a couple of weeks ago. But if I'm not being minimalist and I can actually use both mats, then of course the inflatable 120cm is on top, which just gives it a little bit more comfort. And I didn't have my boots on for a change when I slept last night, and I tend to keep my boots on, although I'll loosen the laces just to make it more comfortable when you go to sleep. But I tend to keep my boots on. Again, I've mentioned that before as well, when I'm solo camping, especially wild camping, where you don't know what's around. If something kicks off or you have to respond straight away during the night, you don't want to be panicking around to put your boots on. But of course, this being a social event, a communal event, people meeting up, I thought it was nice and comfy and appropriate to take my boots off. Plenty of mesh storage pockets in this Gobi 3, which, as I said, I'm going to do a separate review on, but it's just handy to have the phone, which I've got on charge on one of those charge sticks. I've got a Rev Power version of one of those, which has got a built-in torch, but this one my son bought me as a present, which is absolutely fantastic because there's no chance of the torch maybe accidentally switching on and obviously losing power, and here it's enabling me to charge up my phone, which I get about 3 charges out of. But this phone is really old, so it doesn't really store its power anymore, and the batteries are obsolete, so you have to get a clone version. So I'm going to have to update my phone very, very soon. So of course, the older a phone gets, the more it takes to maintain it or charge the batteries and that sort of thing. You know, it just starts to sort of deplete its power. So the reason why I brought the majority of the kit, sort of bulky kit, was the fact that I was meeting Funky Prepper Darren in the car park at Ardeley Farm, which is, as I look and point, is about, it must be about sort of, I don't know, a kilometre walk at least. And with all this kit, it really would have been quite a traipse to come down it over uneven terrain. So we loaded up the back of his truck, drove down here, and obviously we saw him in his vehicle just diagonally opposite from me here. Just unloaded it and placed it here where my pitch is, so that was really handy. So hence just having maybe a little bit more, few more perks than I normally would have when I camp, or especially when I wild camp. Right, we need to get that thing on the go, spark it up, and from over in my larder corner get some mushrooms, eggs and some spicy sausage and some toast for a nice big brunchy breakfast. But prior to that, I've just tidied up my sleep kit, got it out of the way, plenty of floor space in here so I don't have to sort of roll it up, stash it away in a bag or anything. I've just deflated the mat, undone the valve, folded it into three, folded the sleep bag, put the pillow on top, and that can just stay nice and tidy out the way, so I've got plenty of manoeuvrability. And the reason why I've kept this out, not just to sleep on, but you know, if the ground is a bit sort of firm and hard, and plus as well you're going to get the coolness of the ground transferring through your footprint, then this is good to if you sort of are confined to basher barracks due to bad weather or something like that, or you've got some repair work to do under or inside your shelter, then of course it's good to have just a little bit of comfort to sit on and some comfy thermal protection from the coldness of the ground. You'll have seen my even smaller, lightweight, much thinner silver foil, plasticated foil reflector mat, and that's another reason why I've used that, which again I'll be incorporating in my specific spec on my wild camping sleep kit. One of the reasons why I'll use the foil smaller light pack version, because not just to sleep on, to put the inflatable mat on top, but when you finish sleeping you don't want the mat to get damaged. So if you've got something that's less damageable and comfortable to sit on your footprint, then it's either something like this or even the smaller foldable lighter weight plasticated foil reflector mat. So the breezy sun has come out. Made a makeshift hanger with a piece of stick and then a tent peg to hang my coat inside out, so-called waterproof coat, to dry in a t-shirt. And then the other side, the cord that's actually fixed into the tree to keep the canopy up, I've got Funky's poncho. But now prepping some of the food. Gonna have fried mushrooms, one of these spicy sausages, 2 eggs and some baked beans, and I'm going to be using all my cooking utensils. And I've got some fresh ground coffee in there, which I've just put 2 spoonfuls in this little filter, insert some sugar, and I use that to wash down my brunchy breakfast. crunch yumminess. Get in. Okay, to dry my coat out, just made a makeshift hanger out of just a strip of wood found on the ground, but strong enough not to snap. And as you can see, a tent peg, the actual hook that would hold onto the fixing of where the cord or the loop of a tent is actually around a piece of wood and then just looped over the top. So that's dried out nicely. And then the poncho from the Funkster is just there folded up after drying on the other piece of cord to the left of the entrance to my tent. Just folded up nicely, ready for hopefully the next non-downpour tomorrow. And then my t-shirt, which got soaking wet under my jacket. That one, which is dried out inside out, which didn't work. Thank you very much. Hopefully that'll be alright, at least for me to get by tomorrow. If it rains, it will mean packing this down. I don't want to do it first thing in the morning, but it mean packing it down most probably during the rain. But again, it's good practice. All weathers, all terrains, got to be prepared for it. The more people have arrived today, so we're going to have a nice little walk through the forest and onto the field where quite a few people have also set up. But I'll just take you inside where Darren's got his set up quickly. Got his table with what I'd call his kitchen utility unit. Everything you could need to cook, eat and survive is in that box on the table. And then on his VIP camp bed, he's got his mozzie tent type setup. I believe that's American issue. Sleep bag inside. I'll tell you what, it really threw me a few times because this camo netting coming up, I thought everyone had disappeared. I couldn't see them until actually someone lifted it up and then, oh look, here's everyone is. Yeah, and sort of about 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock to the front of my tent set up is his little chill zone.
Yeah.
Hammock.
It's nice to chill, man, you know. It's
yeah.
you can see the lovely sun through the trees and nature at its best. It's beautiful, man.
Steph's utility cord, which he's got underneath his gazebo. Access for stuff really easy. Comfy chair, stove, wind guard. And we got the fire ready to kick in a little bit later on. But what I'm going to do now is go on a little walkabout to have a look at some other pitches and show you around, while some of the other guys have come round to visit our little pitch and spot. Ah, sleep sheet. Big old tarp, blinking out, what's that, a 4 by 3.5? Yes. Oh, that's a good setup. So where are we going, guys?
Up the path.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Some other guys set up here.
He's marigolds.
Yay, doing a bit of admin. Hello there, you're right. You alright, buddy?
Yeah, fine.
Oh, I see, and you're doing. Oh, that's the more important admin. Oh, nice little setup there with a tarp and bridged up with a centre pole, just off centre pole. So if you do get a rain down, you've still got that function, haven't you?
This sort of comradeship, banter.
The only other place that I know that right.
That's one of the paths I featured from the field in the last group meet that we did. And me and Colin are just going up this way. Some other guys right in the middle of the woods there. So look up that massive great tree. Right, let's go into another pitch in here. We've got a tarp set up just there and a massive great parachute. Cop hold of that. Now that is basher to the max. Union Jack. Camo, quick pop-up tent, nice and convenient. So in relation to this little bit of space, there's about a dozen people with all their setups in the communal space. There's a couple more tarps through there. tarp through there. A couple more right over on the perimeter. Okay, we're going back on the track. Before I do, you can see there's another setup over there. So you can see I'm not the only one using a tent. Other people have used tents besides hammock setups, which is all good stuff. So it's coming to about 10 past 8 in the evening. So I'm just walking up this centre rat path trail. Normally it's quite quiet round here, but for some reason, I think because the weather pattern has changed, clearer, it's changed the flight path of the aircraft, which must be making their way to Heathrow Airport, which would be south of where we are, Ardeley. So there's a big old field. So I've just come from inside there. But if you see that clump of trees just over there, those dark green ones, around that area, and in between the slightly lighter green one, is where I'm pitched up. But as I walk back through this direction, up here, nice little bit of secluded area here if people did want to pitch up. So if more people have attended, or had attended rather, wouldn't have been any problem around here. But as I walk a bit further through this space, this is where part of one of the main paths are. There's a track down there, which I think is one of the paths of the nature walk trails that the farm organises. We go further, got a set up over there. Hello, dog. You're right. There's set up guys over there. A couple of our other Oppo mates up here, sharing ideas via YouTube and different bits and pieces. Nice setup. Okay, I've come back now after a little bit of a walk around, have a chat with some people and see what's going on with different people's shelters, bashes, tents, family setups, solos to groups. Come back now to my tent because it's just gone 10 o'clock at night, but I cannot get over how mild it is compared to when we arrived here yesterday and then this time last night to this time last night. The weather is so mild now, and as you can see, I'm just in my t-shirt. Admittedly, having a walk about sort of made me a bit warm, but it's just total stillness in the air, which is a real compensation considering the milder weather we had today. And in the evening, we're going to cook over a campfire, so we'll be a bit more rustic and outdoorsy. I'll probably put my body warmer and fleece on, either of the two or both of them if it gets a bit more chilly, but we're going to get warmth from the campfire. Cows honking in the background in the farm field over there, but we're going to knock up something to eat now and get some warmth and coziness from the campfire, and a few people are going to come over and share our fire space. Okay, these guys have just come over. Oh mate, it's spot on. And we've got Matthew and Scott, and this is Matthew. Hang on a minute, let's just get that. That's it. Got a bit of light there.
Hang on. How's that?
Spot on, that's it. You can see it. Brilliant. We've got to have a witness of the person behind. He made these on his campsite, his campfire, and he actually made them with ingredients actually on site. And there's Scotty over there. Let's have a look. Here we go. Cheers, Scott, for that. Spot on, mate. And I'm now going to eat mine. And guess what it is? Yumminess Welsh style. Bring it on.
Got the hot stuff, and that's all very well and good, but
Have you had bloody hell?
yeah, I have. Yeah,
Daz has just got the fire going.
I've only had a little bit. But
Oh, okay.
That's what it's all about. A 2 burner stove, yeah, it's good for convenience, but rustic, earthy, campfire, that is
I went up
110%.
there.
Well,
This one's sweet talk, isn't it?
that's the line anyway.
Yeah.
Well, the future is, I think, anyway.
That's all way nicely.
Mm.
That'll take you about 3 minutes to do the jacket spud.
Spicy chicken wings from the farm shop at Ardeley Farm on the coals. Oh, suits you, sir. Oh, we're smoking. Oh, yummy. Oh, suits you, sir. Oh.
Very
I'm not going to say what time of the morning it is, but it's not far off the sun rising over the horizon.
4 o'clock.
We've just done some spicy chicken wings.
Slowly.
Slowest cooking we've ever watched, like watching paint dry. It just ain't going to dry. This was just about cooking on the coals, on the bottom left hand corner to the left of the handle of the little fry pan, which is a lid of one of Darren's cook unit pots, is the maple syrup marinated pork belly steaky strippy bits. But this is really a late night snack. This is really a late night snack. Yeah, pre-breakfast. But it's definitely going to be a lie-in. Daz has got his there on his plate.
Didn't last long.
It's going down a treat, and someone donated us a bit of treat, so sausage, so we sliced that in half because it's easier to eat through, so Daz did that. And now we're going to get that down our throat and rush we go to sleep with extreme indigestion. Get in. Good day, it's now Sunday, and we had a bit of a lazy lie-in this morning, and the rain kicked in yet again about sort of early morning, just not long after daybreak, but about 8-9 o'clock, something like that. And it had been raining on and off up until about midday. Bit of a respite, so it gave me a chance to open up the front of the porch, cord this out either side, then I've got cooking space underneath as I just had yesterday. So when I unzipped the front and got out, I didn't have to don a load of waterproofs, get wet, then take them off to sit inside. And oh, that was a nice drip on top of my head, thank you very much. That was tempting fate, that was. So people could sort of do a few more activities that they maybe had to do whilst it wasn't raining. But I'm just looking over the field now where the cows are. And as you look at the cows in the field, the wind breeze is blowing the very light rain from right to left, and I've got to go up that direction once I've taken the path along there, right to the end, and then hang a left to then go over the last part of the field that we just looked at with the cows, cross the cattle grid, up over the gate, and then straight up that direction to the car park. So I've packed up all and sundry inside. Cooker's folding up, empty the water, bit of excess water there, so I don't want to be carrying that back, and rucksack with clothing, bits of sleep kit, sundry bits and pieces, first aid kit, head torches, whatever in the side pouches, and you can see the sleep roll mat within the front straps of the rucksack, and then all food stuff, empty containers, some of the food that was left over, wasn't very much, and cook containers in my Berghaus Munro. And then in the Dutch Army sleep roll mat bag I've got some of my other shelter kit, which was an extra tarp, 12 by 8 if we were to have a communal fire somewhere around here, but we didn't. We had it, as you saw last night, over there, which was quite nice, and of course it was very mild and not raining. But sort of doing bug out themed type meetups and that sort of thing, you know, it's not trying to struggle around. If you're being out for the long term, you need really good facilities to accommodate the fact that you're being outdoors. Admittedly, I was only here for sort of like 2 nights, and from sort of Friday afternoon to now Sunday afternoon. But it was good just to test out the tent. As I said, I'm going to be doing a full review on it very soon. It held its own. It was very breezy on the Friday. It did a real pucker job because it was only freestanding, fixed at the ground points, and I didn't use any of the guy lines. So it was one either corner, this side, and obviously one either corner, this side, and then of course one on either part of the porch. So it was just 6 fixings. Obviously if you need a bit more striation and support, the guy lines could have been used. But I wasn't really in the way of sort of horizontal gusts of wind, you know, it was just mainly from the higher breeze. But it stood up to the rain. It's had 2 tests of rain twice over the weekend, and not one single ingress of 1 drop of water, no condensation, nothing. So really pleased with that. And as I say, I think that's the biggest space I've camped out in since maybe 2002. Otherwise it's been small quick pop-up tents, mountain tents, trekking tents, and of course over the past maybe 10 years, mainly I'd say 99% using a tarp. So as I said, this was 5-star accommodation. So now I'm going to tog up and get my kit on my back. I've got a couple of journeys to make to take the kit back to the car park. So before it gets any heavier rain, which is going to be less practical to sort of transit in, I'm going to get on the move. But prior to that, I've got to strike down the tent and pack that away. So, cleared my pitch. Obviously the ground is flattened, but leave no trace, no rubbish, taking all the rubbish out. Okay, the rain's getting a little bit heavier. I think I'm going to get it in the cross breeze when I'm actually going in the open part of the ground when it's going up the slope to the car park, because this field either side, and that's where the wind's sort of brushing the rain through. Going through the woods shouldn't be too bad. I'll just get the drip fall off of the foliage of the leaves on the crown of the trees, so I'm hoping not to get too wet. Got a bit of a walk back up to the car, twice with rucksack and hand gear, and then I'll come back and pick up the second half of my kit, which is under a Darron's little communal tarp that we've been using over the weekend. And just on that tree there you can see a rucksack hanging, which I'm going to walk past in a moment as I leave this part of the woods. And it's just next to where we had the fire space last night, where we had that late night little bit of brunch and cooking over the fire coals. And that is going to be just on the other side of it, sort of near enough in there, is going to be roach, armoured cockroach, Mike's pitch, and I think he's tarping it for tonight. But I've got to hit the trail now, so I'm going to get on the move, and as always, thanks for watching, really appreciate your interest, and catch you in another video soon. Cheers, take care.